So, there's a, I don't even know how to start this video, right? There's a Bond villain. We'll call him a Bond villain because that's what he is. A sick psychopath Bond villain that seems to think that he has the idea of how the rest of the world should live. Right, we're talking about the leader of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. The guy's a Bond villain, let's be honest. The way he talks, his vision for humanity, right? These guys are absolutely just batshit crazy, sick psychopaths with way too much money and way too much power. What I'd like to know, this is what I'd like to know, right? Why the fuck are all the world leaders listening to these people? Why is the leader of our country, Australia, in bed with these people? They're not a country. They have no... I don't understand why the fuck we're listening to all of these rich billionaires around the world. Why the hell are world leaders getting involved with the billionaires around the world? There should be no world leaders connecting with any of the billionaires around the world. Isn't that like a huge conflict of interest that the same people that run all the corporations and have all the money are getting together with all of the country's leaders? That's fucking corrupt beyond belief. There is a conflict of interest there that is beyond words. No world leaders, no leaders of any countries should be in talks about anything with any companies. Owners of companies, anyone that has to do with mass wealth should not be talking to... They shouldn't be talking to these people. They shouldn't be fucking having any type of association with them, any type of relationship with them, because there's a huge conflict of interest. But what you see when you look at this as a whole is you realize that the world leaders don't actually run the world. That's right. So the Prime Minister of Australia and the President of the United States and, you know, all of them, they're all just puppets. And who really runs the show are all of the most wealthy people in the world. And let's be honest. If any of these world leaders across the world didn't want to play ball, they'll just eradicate them. They'll either destroy them, they'll destroy their reputation, and they'll send them broke and they'll get rid of them that way. Or if they can't be bought, borrowed, or stolen from, they'll kill them. Right? You can just see why is the world, all of the leaders of all the countries speaking with and having these summits with these, they have no fucking bearing whatsoever of how our lives operate. We could literally just cut ourselves away from the World Economic Forum right now, the World Health Organization right now, and this country would be 1,000 times better off just looking after its own interests. Imagine for a second that Australia started actually looking after Australians. All of the gas that we pull out of this country stays in this fucking country. All of the resources that we pull out of the ground actually gets used for industry within Australia. Imagine for a second the people that actually ran this country actually gave a shit about the people that lived here and didn't keep selling all of our shit overseas and let all of these foreign corporations come in and take over everything. But what you can see when you look at this as a whole, the reason all of our world leaders, all of our leaders around the world are speaking with these people and having summits with these people and constantly having to connect with these people is because these people actually run the show. These are the real leaders that run the show. These are the real guys that pull all the strings. And all of our politicians and all that, they're only there because these people put them there. They put them there because they're the ones who invested into these people to get into those positions. And you can see it just from looking at the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, right? All of these so-called collective, what would you call them? All of these so-called collective institutions, say, that have been just put together apparently for the good of humanity, but all they ever fucking do is just make our lives difficult. It's like, how the hell does a rich billionaire who flies around on a private jet knows what's best for the fucking farmers? Has he ever gone and actually tried to grow a crop? And he knows what's best for the farmers. These people have no idea what it's like to live our type of lives, yet they get to dictate to us what's best for our lives. Meanwhile, these fuckers are flying around with private jets, friggin' feasting on maybe, fucking $300 a kilo meat, right? Which is the finest of the finest of the finest food, the most luxurious accommodation you can think of, yet they get to dictate to the masses what's best for us. And these people go and just get into bed with them and fucking listen to what they have to say. It's like, mate, we don't need the World Economic Forum. We don't need the World Health Organization. Australia could literally cut itself off from the world tomorrow from any outside influence, and we would be 1,000 times better than we are right now. But it just goes to show how fucking corrupt each and every single one of those politicians are. Those rat, slimy dog bastards that have each of those positions, mate. It just goes to show how fucking corrupt the people are that run these countries, mate. Because as long as you listen to these corporations, what they call the private sector, right? They call it the private sector. And if you've ever gone and entertained yourself, and you should actually go and have a read of Agenda 21. It's a long ass document, but you should just read it. And there's this constant, there's a few words that just reign supreme every single time, where government will work along with the private sector for the good of this and the good of that, where government will work along with private sector to ensure sustainability and, blah, 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 blah. And every single thing they do, every single thing they talk about, whether it's removing people off private land, taking people and putting them into these things called mega establishments or mega cities, right? Where everyone's connected with these high-speed rail, and there's no one drives cars, and everyone friggin', rides around with. It says it in Agenda 21. It actually says that people will be taken off private property in the interest of sustainability, right? And put into these mega cities. That's what they say. It's either mega cities or mega establishments, and it actually says in there where people will be transported around in electric vehicles, and they will have electric scooters and bicycles. You won't own an actual vehicle according to these psychopaths moving forward, because this is their plan in order to save the environment. So let me get this right. There is 1 billion mobile phones probably created. How many people are across the world, right? 7.5 billion. How many mobile phones would there be across the world being created every year? There'd have to be at least 500 million phones. So let me get this right. They're creating all of this technology that's disposable, that fucks up after 2 years and you have to buy a new one, where when you used to buy stuff in the 50s or 60s, your TV would last like 15, 20 years. It would outlast friggin' grandma, your TV, right? And everything was just built to last back then. Power tools, vehicles, everything was built to last. Now, we live in this disposable, consumable world where your TV doesn't last more than 3 years. They bring out a new mobile phone every year. So you're talking about stopping beef production because, obviously the cows are destroying the environment according to these psychopaths who are flying around in private jets. But then Samsung and Apple are creating 1 billion friggin' phones every year. That's no different from the fucking phone the year before. Like, if we really, honestly, if the billionaires of the world thought that we were really in danger environmentally, do you honestly think companies like Samsung and these large corporations that create an abundance of waste and use an abundance of energy to create these so-called technologies, do you think they'd be creating a new phone that all it has is a fucking different camera, but apart from that, it doesn't look any different? Like, seriously, mate. And you get these moron climate activists that sit there going, we need to fucking save the planet. Meanwhile, they're talking on their S20 mobile phone because they've just upgraded to a brand new phone that's got a newer camera. And they're just so fucking blind to the fact that, hey, you just went and bought a brand new phone, right? What was wrong with your old one? Absolutely nothing. The camera wasn't as great. But you just went and bought a brand new phone when your old one was fine, and then you're sitting there talking about how we need to save the planet, and we need to do this by eradicating all of the livestock out of the world. Meanwhile, you just went and bought a new phone when you could have got one that's already been made and still works, and you could have just got a fucking second-hand one. But they sit there and talk about they need to save the planet. Think about the amount of resources and mining and shit went into creating that fucking phone. And you're saying that the cows that actually have been naturally, sitting on the pasture and eating grass and drinking a bit of water are the fucking problem all of a sudden? This is how stupid the world is, and how well the ignorance machine is designed to just keep people with fucking blinders on. And it's like, hey, just look over here, focus on what we've got to say. We have all the answers, and don't look away. And whatever you do, do not listen to people other than the mainstream, because we're the ones who are going to tell you the truth, and anyone else out there will lie. Even though we're the ones with the conflict of interest, even though we're the ones that stand to profit billions, even though by listening to us, we get complete control over you, the bloke who has absolutely nothing to gain and everything to lose by actually speaking the truth has an ulterior motive for doing so. But us who stand to profit billions and at the same time control you and oppress you beyond all belief moving forward into the future, you should listen to us, because we, even though, we could very well be fooling you right now, we're not actually doing that. We're being completely honest, and we're looking out for humanity right now. But meanwhile, we're talking about saving the planet, but we all just hopped on a fucking private jet to go have a summit when we could have easily got onto a fucking Zoom call and had the same effect in terms of being able to have that communication take place, i.e. the summit, right? This is how fucking foolish the world is, and just how narrow-minded everyone is, and just how well the ignorance machine is designed to just keep everyone fucking just following the same process all the time, mate. And meanwhile, you've got a Bond villain sitting there fucking dictating how we should live in the world, when the guy probably doesn't know what it feels like to go work, wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, work till like 6 o'clock at night, come home, have a shower, and then go to work from 9 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. And by the time you get home, you've been up for 24 hours. But he's going to fucking dictate, the guy who's sitting there flying around in a private jet, who's probably never experienced adversity in his life in terms of what it really feels like to fucking live through struggle, is going to dictate how the rest of the world should live. And we're listening. And all of our world leaders, instead of doing what's best for the people, they go and they fucking get in bed with all of these, with the private sector, with the rich billionaires around the world, thinking apparently that they're there to, try and help the environment and save people. Yeah, that's the world we live in. So what's coming? Let me get my little crystal ball out for a second. Let's talk about what's coming, right? Let's just fucking get the crystal ball out and let's just talk about what's coming. So, as you can see the cyber attacks and stuff happening now. Apparently, conveniently so, just all of a sudden we just get absolutely bombarded with all these cyber attacks. You've got friggin' Medibank that got hit. You got Optus that got hit. Apparently Telstra got hit. Whatever, right? And now they're calling for digital identity because this is going to keep all of your personal information safe, because obviously every time they want to take something away, they need to do problem, reaction, solution, and they need the reaction to be, please give us more security of our private details, because we cannot have another Optus hack where we lose everything. We're outraged, and we're calling for more security. You guys need to protect us. And the government go, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to get rid of all of your physical IDs, right? So you won't need a driver's license anymore and a passport, because these things can be easily stolen. They could easily steal your identity using all of these documents. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to abolish your passport and your driver's license and all of your cards that you have. And what we're going to do, in the interest of keeping your identity safe, because this is what it's about. It's about your safety. We're going to give you a number, And this number is going to encompass everything about you from now on, right? This number will be your number. No one else will be able to have it, and no one else will be able to use your number for absolutely anything. This is what these guys are going to do. And they're going to call this your digital identity, i.e. like an encryption of your fucking whole, everything that encompasses you, from your WorkSafe card to your driver's license to your bank cards. Everything's going to be on this thing, right? And then what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, well, look, what we're going to do is once we create this digital identity, you'll have a card that you'll carry around with you. And this card will be your, this will be your access to everything. And then slowly, what they'll do is they'll take that card and they'll say, well, you know what? It's just not working for you to carry the card on you. People could easily steal your card and then they could use your identity for things. So what we're going to do is this. I think the best solution for us, because that's what will be next, problem, reaction, solution. People will be taking these cards or whatever else is. We're going to, look, the best option for everybody is something needs to be put under your skin. I know I know that it's pretty egregious that we're asking people to start putting things under their skin, but we're in a modern area now, and we really need to think about what's convenient for everybody, and this just isn't working. And you'll get all these virtual signaling morons who'll have a Facebook profile that'll say, microchipped, right? They'll have a fucking little circle there, and they'll have, like vaccinated, staying at home, and all that shit that all these little virtual signaling assholes had before. Now it'll say microchipped on the bottom of their thing there, gladly with my digital ID, whatever else. And then once your digital ID comes, which it will, that's when you'll notice that they'll finally get where they want to get to with cash. They'll give you a digital ID first. Your digital ID will then follow with a digital wallet. The central banking digital currency will be created. Then they'll get rid of all cash, right? And then you will be well and truly fucked. Your life that you once knew will be finished. Now, as long as you're a little virtual signaling arsehole and you agree with everything the government does all the time, you won't actually feel any pain, because you'll be exactly where they want you to be. But if you are the type of individual that has the ability to think for themselves and really doesn't feel that world is for them, and they would like to have their liberties and they would like to have their ability for freedom of speech, and by freedom of speech, I don't mean where you say something that's in line with the narrative and, they happily let you have your freedom of speech, within that regard. But then when you say something it's counter against the narrative, or, against what is the current virtual signaling conversation that's going on, then, they'll start doing things with your digital ID, i.e. they'll be able to cut off everything all at once. Everything that's connected to you at that point, you're basically under a switch. And they can switch it all off and switch it all on whenever they want. They can switch off all your money. And people go, oh, well, we're already in that world now. People are using cards, whatever else. Yeah, but we still have cash. It's still there. You know what I mean? You can always still have the anonymity of using cash to be able to transact, to buy your food and pay your bills or whatever else. You still have that option. Once that option's gone, we'll be living in a very, very different world. We are talking about a dystopian, fucked up nightmare where, under the guise of safety for everything, because that's what these guys will do. They've seen just how well the world will respond to fear, and they'll use fear for everything. In order to be able to keep putting shit under you, injecting you with shit, they use fear of a virus. In order to give you a digital ID, they'll use fear of you being hacked and all of your information being taken away. In order for them to take you away from your private land and start, putting you into these, allotted square meterage living spaces where you're not allowed to have a giant block or do whatever you want, and, you only have a certain amount and everything is scarce, they'll use the fear of climate change. Everything comes through bringing a fear upon the people, and then through the fear, They give you the solution, but the solution was actually what they wanted to do to you all along. And they're using this with everything they've ever done. And now there'll be a lot of people in the back having a bit of a laugh and going, this guy's absolutely batshit crazy. But am I batshit crazy? Like, did we witness what happened over the last couple of years? They said that they were going to give you something that was going to stop transmission. They didn't. They said that it was only 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And then fucking 3 years later, they're telling you we should be careful about a Christmas lockdown. These people are psychopaths, mate. And as long as you watch the leaders of each country getting into bed with these billionaires who have no interest for us whatsoever apart from oppressing us, then you can see just how corrupt everything is. And you can see who runs the show. And it ain't Scott Morrison, mate. And all these people are going, we need to sack Dan Andrews. Dan Andrews is a puppet. And until people realise that the reason this guy is pushing all of that shit and making our life difficult, he ain't doing that because he just woke up one day and decided to be an hellbent asshole. He's a puppet, mate. The only reason that guy got into that position and he's doing everything he does because there are people that come knocking on the door at 11 o'clock at night in fucking dark suits who come and tell fucking Big Band Dan Andrews, mate, you better fucking listen to what we have to say. There is people that do and control all of this stuff, and they have no names, they have no faces, and they're the real puppet masters of the world. And, mate, everyone's so concerned with Joe Biden and friggin' and Putin and all. Mate, they're all puppets. The Illuminati have said it in their own book, right? It says that the world is a stage and we're all just actors. The whole world is one giant fucking play to these people. And if they want to do something, all they do is they go and play both sides. They want to take resources out of a country. They'll create a war from these people against these people. They'll fund both sides. They'll let the war take place, and then they'll come in at the end and they'll pick up all the pieces, and then they'll get what they want to have out of there. And they've done it with every country across the world, mate. That's how they decimated Iraq and Syria and all these places. All of these places, they had these globalist psychopaths that run everything. The puppet masters have formulated every single war that's taken place across humanity over all this time. These people had a hand in it, mate. And you can go back as far as the Crusades, whatever major, where there was mass killings and a serious power structure was swapped over. These people had a hand in it all, mate. And these people have not stopped. The technology's just gotten better. And, we're still under the same fucking control of these people. And until people realise just who are the puppet masters of this world, they are the nameless and faceless. They have an unimaginable wealth, unimaginable power, and they can get these world leaders to do whatever the hell they want them to do. And if anyone steps out of line and doesn't follow what they have to do, they'll kill them. Have a look at all of the country leaders that chose not to take on all of the COVID measures. They all died, mate. They all ended up dying or disappearing. Each and every single one of them. Each and every single one of them that did not want to play ball, they all ended up dying, mate. And they all fucking disappeared. There are some serious puppet masters that run this world, mate. And until people start looking past Joe Biden and President Putin and the Prime Minister of Australia and China and all this, forget that. There is no such thing as countries, mate. These people have been controlling the world for a very, very fucking long time. And all of these world leaders, they're just there to give you the illusion of that we have some type of control within the world. They're only there because they were put there by the select few. The men in the dark suits, mate. The nameless, the faceless that really run this world. They're the reason all of these people have been put there. And when you see all of these things like, the World Economic Forum, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, all that sort of stuff, right? World Health Organization, International Monetary Fund, it's all them. the World Bank. It is all them. They control absolutely everything. That's why everyone goes, oh, the Reserve Bank is increasing interest rates and all this stuff. Who the fuck do you think the Reserve Bank is, and why do we need to answer to a Reserve Bank as a country? Why? Why are we in this mess where we're so in bed with all of these foreign interests that we've absolutely decimated this country? Anyway, that's all I've got to say. So anybody who sits there and sees all of our world leaders go and hang out at the G20 summit and all this stuff, it's like, why are all the rich billionaires there? Why isn't it not just the world leaders? Because who truly has the power and makes this world go round are those rich, satanic, psychopath billionaires. And do you know who's behind all of it? Who is the true puppet master of all of those rich billionaires? The Prince of Darkness himself, mate. Satan is behind all of them. Satan is behind each and every single one of these people. And these people, even though they would seem to be the most powerful, they're actually not. There is the main individual that controls everything, mate. And that's the Antichrist. And until people realise that this is one giant fucking game and everything that we have within our lives is just an illusion of control, then, mate, humanity's done. But anyway, that's my little rant there. You can share it, do whatever you want with it. And on a positive note, guys, have an amazing day. And remember that no matter what happens, man, always have faith that you'll be okay, and you will be. That's it. No matter what. It doesn't matter what type of impending doom is looming. If you have faith within your heart that you'll be okay, you will be, mate. I can't explain it, but every single time you will be looked after. Try it. Next time you're having something happen that you don't know how you're going to get out of it, just have faith and know within your heart. In your heart of hearts, you'll be fine, and you will see that from a no way, a nowhere, no how, a way will be found. I'm telling you, it works every single time. And that there is the beauty of the Creator himself, mate. Much love. See you later.